It's called the stock market and your 401ks.
That's President Trump last night in Pennsylvania touting a strong economy. The American housing market still seeing some strain. Young American buyers finding themselves being priced out of the market as the age of the average home buyer is rising, now at 40 years old, according to Realtor.com. The median home price in the western U.S. now at nearly $630,000. That's more than $500,000 for the Northeast as well. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is now sitting at roughly 6.2%, as you can see there, 6.19%. Joining me now is U.S. Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner. Secretary, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And we're talking about housing ahead of the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates, where we are expecting a cut in rates later today. Would you expect a cut in short-term rates by the Fed to trickle to the mortgage market anytime soon?
Yes, ma'am. We are expecting that today, and we're hopeful that the Fed will cut rates and continue to cut them. You saw the president yesterday in Pennsylvania talking about the economy. Maria, you know, as when we came in, our economy was in terrible shape, but just in a very short period of time, under President Trump's leadership, our economy is now thriving. But I believe next year, because of the policies and the working family tax cuts, the largest tax cut for working families in American history, next year, families will see the real benefit of the policies that have been enacted. And at HUD, you know, we've helped over 1 million people so far this year in home ownership, either first-time home buyers or refinancing their home. Over 500,000 first-time home buyers at HUD through our FHA program have now gotten on a path to home ownership. And so as we see this shift coming and this paradigm coming, there's good news on the horizon. Much work yet to be done.
I mean, guys, it definitely sounds good. I mean, listen, if we have the ability to finally, like, as a culture, society, be able to actually afford homes again, that's a great thing, right? But going through HUD, just understand what that means here. Specifically, HUD, these are going to be houses that sometimes are going to be moderately decrepit. You're going to have to get some type of construction loan, if that's even a thing in your area, right? You're going to have to do something like that because some of these homes need a good amount of work here, guys.
And yet people are still feeling strained about inflation and high prices, and particularly in the housing market. What would be your best recommendation in terms of policy to open up this market to people further?
Well, Maria, let's look at the root of it. You talk about during the Biden administration, the failed immigration policies, and that has really had a tremendous impact on our housing supply and housing affordability. When you have over 12 million people coming over our borders, unchecked, unvetted, this is straining our housing market from a supply standpoint, from an affordability standpoint. HUD just put out a report and found that between 2021 and 2024, the foreign-born population in our country in just 3 short years is 6 million people, which is the most in that period of time in American history. And so we cannot forego the thought that because of illegal immigration, because of people coming to our country, prices have risen, supply has been squeezed, but we're working very hard at HUD, along with the president and other leaders in the administration, to bring down the cost and raise the supply when they're doing it through interagencies. But we need the Fed to cut rates. We need to continue to deport illegals that are taking houses from the American people. So we're very intentional and focused about it at HUD and across the administration.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, bro, I get it. I like dunking on Biden also, right? Just understand this here. But I think in the context of the statement that we're making here is that, guys, most of the people that are coming into the United States of America in a very illegal or illicit or fraud-like manner specifically, they can't afford to buy a house, right? So what you really need to do, right, is start focusing specifically on those gigantic corporate landlords, okay? Make it so they can't exist, large scale at least. Make it so they cannot purchase, 1,500 homes. You're talking about supply and demand. That's what's happening here. Obviously, if there wasn't so many people looking to rent, then the prices of most of these things would go down. But because of obviously the law of supply and demand, it dictates that I'm going to raise the price because there are more people looking for it. What does that do? It brings in all these super uber rich hedge funds, et cetera, to come in and buy up all the property. BlackRock. You get what I'm saying here, guys? Buy up all the property because they know they have renters, right? Indefinite supply of renters that can rent things. But the ones who are buying them are generally not specifically the illegal immigrants, guys, right? But either way.
And that is the reason that you recently launched this new hotline for Americans to report any potential illegal migrant or criminal living in public housing, right? Your department finding foreign-born residents account for 60% of the growth in rental demand, Secretary?
Oh, yes, ma'am. You just showed that.
Rental demand.
You did in New York and also in California, there's no coincidence that when you have unfettered access for illegals to come into your city, to come into your state, that you're going to have these problems with illegal immigration. 100% of the cause of rental growth in New York and California is due to illegal aliens coming into our country. But this hotline that you alluded to that we launched at HUD is through our Office of Inspector General. Maria, we care about the people that live in HUD-funded housing, in particular our public housing authorities.
Respect.
Those families need to feel safe in their homes, safe in the properties that they're renting. And so we understand that it's hard to report things, but we have a vehicle now with our HUD crime hotline for people to report any sex trafficking, drug trafficking, illegal aliens, illicit things going on, nefarious activity. And I want people to understand this is confidential. You can do it without fear because we want to know what's going on in public housing authorities so we can root out crime, root out illegals, and serve the American people and the American people only.
And you also recently rolled back more Biden-era guidance that you said was favoring Afghan refugees. Tell me about this. How are immigrants impacting the housing market from Afghanistan?
Yes, ma'am. And, you know, I'm glad you brought that up. And, Maria, I know I'm not supposed to do this on TV, but I want to read this so the American people, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, understand what's going on during the Biden administration. Our HUD, Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Office, we have taken down guidance that during the Biden administration encouraged landlords and property owners to forego regularly required credit checks for refugees so they didn't have to do credit checks.
They couldn't do a credit check against a refugee.
And public housing authorities
they have no credit.
To exempt Afghan refugees from occupancy limits so they can have as many people as they wanted living in HUD-funded housing. Also advise landlords and property owners to evade the fair housing laws, which we're supposed to uphold, evade the fair housing laws by publishing marketing materials in languages other than English so that they can market to Afghan refugees. Wow. That was what's going on during the Biden administration, but we have since withdrawn that and torn that guidance down to restore guidance that is for the American people.
That's incredible. I mean, the Housing Department temporarily pausing that policy initiative to reform funding for homeless Americans. Also, this is being challenged by 2 lawsuits over a policy that, quote, mandates only 30% of the agency's continuum of care funding can be used for permanent housing. That's down from roughly 90%. Secretary, explain the program. Why is it being challenged?
Yes, ma'am. So this is our Continuum of Care program, which we put out a fiscal year 2025 new competitive notice of funding opportunity. It has been withdrawn, but we are not fettered by this, Maria. We will make the necessary technical assistance changes, but we are intentional and we are determined to transform this so that we can serve the American people that we're supposed to be serving, in particular our homeless population. And it's very disturbing that those that have put this lawsuit, the groups that put this lawsuit up, are more concerned about their own access, their own profit, their own political agenda, other than being concerned about the homeless men, women, and children that we have been called to serve. And so we are determined that we will put this notice back up, we will transform this policy, and we will not only house people, because the Housing First model during the Biden administration is a failed model, and that's what they're defending, but not only will we house them, but we will put the axe head to the root and say, hey, the root cause is mental instability, mental illness, drug addiction, get people treated and get them back to a life of self-sustainability.
All right, Secretary, we'll be...
I mean, that'll be great, but we don't live in a perfect world, guys. I would probably go on a limb and say that the world that we're currently living in is not perfect by any stretch, not even close to it, guys. I mean, we have many issues here. Homelessness is definitely one of them that is a main issue here. I definitely would say one of them, at least. Guys, in terms of what HUD does, I did not know. I didn't even put it together. I've always heard of Section 8 specifically, right? But I never actually put it together that HUD actually had something to do with it. But if they do, I always thought HUD was like a place where you basically purchase, or you have the ability to purchase rundown homes, right? Basically. But the fact that I now know that they're obviously associated with Section 8, intriguing. But I definitely would still push people to more towards ownership. And I could definitely see how, in the context of Section 8, specifically referring to the lower income side of things, in fact, refugees and like illegal immigrants specifically are playing a gigantic part in you being able to find a home in that context. When we entered into the video based off the title, I was speculating that it had something to do with like purchasing of a house, because that's what we started with. The video itself started by talking about home interest rates. And generally, if you're a renter, you don't really care about an interest rate unless you're entering into 10-year treasury bonds and things like that, which is probably not something you're looking at. Right. So yes, in the context of this year, specifically lower income Section 8, okay. The immigrants are, in fact, specifically the illegal immigrants are, in fact, competing with you, specifically renting in this context specifically. If this is your situation, then they are, in fact, competing with you. But all right, what are we going to do with this? That's above my pay grade, guys. All right. Listen, that's a lot. Should we have the concept of illegal immigrants in the United States of America? No, guys, but that's what Trump's trying to do. He's trying to get the illegals specifically out of the country, guys. If that was to happen, then you'll be competing less, I think, potentially. But if you're buyers, that has nothing to do with you. But either way. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies, and I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.